Hi, welcome to this episode of The Daily. My name is Brendan Malone. Well, last week my friend Sam got in contact with me and he said, hey, I've been thinking about my top 10 superhero films, and he gave me his list. And then he said, I was wondering what was on your list of top 10 superhero movies. So I thought, what a great idea for an episode. So I thought I would turn my list into an episode. Before I get into my top 10, though, I thought I would just mention a couple of honourable mentions that didn't make the top 10 list. It came pretty close. The movie Hancock. I love that film. There's just something, I really like the way Peter Berg directs, and he's very much a student of Michael Mann, and I like the way he directs and stylises his films, and so I really enjoyed that movie. Days of Future Past, which I think is still the best X-Men movie to date. It was a really, really good film, and I think it went off formula a little bit, and also managed to include the MacGuffin of the end of the world, but did it in a new and unique way that we haven't really seen a lot of lately. But with the whole time travel element and going back in time, they actually, instead of the end of the world being this sort of imminent thing that was constantly there and present, it was something that, in a sense, was yet to happen. It was so far away that you could actually focus on character development and telling a really interesting story. And The Dark Knight Rises, which is the third of the Christopher Nolan Batman films. Not quite as strong as the others, and I had to push it out because of some other films that sort of took precedence, but it is still a really good film. So number 10, here we go, the top 10 list. Number 10 is Man of Steel. I think it's a really underrated film. I think it's a great take on Superman, and I think it actually gets Superman right. Now, I know the purists are probably not going to like that. Christopher Reeve fans are probably not going to like that, but I actually think it gets it right and creates a really interesting and engaging film at the same time. Number 9 was The Incredibles. What a great animated movie. And I think probably one of the first films from Brad Bird, the director, one of the first films that really started to challenge some of the messaging that we were getting in culture, some of the, I want to say PC, politically correct stuff, about how we shouldn't compete and we should just have fun, and people who have extraordinary talents and giftings shouldn't really be sort of proud and active in those things. So there was a really sort of countercultural and subversive message to it, which was really great. Number 8 was Hellboy. Hellboy was awesome. Hellboy could have been an absolute disaster, but man, Ron Perlman, when I first heard that he was in this, I thought, how's this going to work? But it really does work, and it's a really cool gothic horror slash superhero film that works really well. And it could have been very dark, but it wasn't. It's actually a really engaging and enjoyable film. Number 7 is Constantine. I think Keanu Reeves was just the perfect choice for this movie, and it was such a great film about a man and his love for a woman, and the fact that he had to save the world from the ultimate MacGuffin, the ultimate Armageddon, which was the hordes of hell finding their way to Earth to destroy the world as we know it. Number 6 is Iron Man. Iron Man, I think, was just such a great film, and it really started that whole Marvel franchise, the MCU. It really kicked it into life, and it showed us that it was possible. It really did show us. Also, Robert Downey Jr. What an awesome revelation in that role. No one, but there were some, but most people were very skeptical about him in that role. A lot of people were bagging him before the film had even got started, but he proved it, he owned it, and it set his career on this massive upward trajectory after years of languishing. So, yeah, great film. Number 5, Batman Begins. Batman Begins is just an awesome Christopher Nolan film. I love Christopher Nolan as a filmmaker, and Batman Begins was that first real, I think, superhero movie that attempted to bring superheroes into the real world and also did it with quality filmmaking. Nothing was sacrificed there, and it just is such a great movie-making experience and a cinematic experience for us the audience who go and watch it, and it still stands up today. Number 4, Guardians of the Galaxy, the movie that everyone was skeptical about from Marvel until it got released, and it was like, this is really good. And I think it was just so well done. It was such a great mix of action and humour, and light and dark, and a great story, a really engaging story, and just some uniqueness as well, some things that we hadn't seen before on the screen, which I think really helped it. Number 3 is Winter Soldier. My top 3 were a tough sort of, pick. How do I align these? But number 3 was Winter Soldier, easily Marvel's best film to date, still Marvel's best film, and one of the best superhero movies that we've had in recent years. It really did, it sort of is a genre bender. It turned the superhero franchise into almost like a Bourne spy suspense thriller. And it did it really well. It really worked. And the stakes felt very, very real. There's not too many movies where the stakes actually feel this real. Number 2 is Unbreakable. M. Night Shyamalan has copped a lot of flack for some of his movies. I think he's underrated in a lot of ways, but Unbreakable is, I think, possibly his best film, certainly in the top 2. But it's an awesome story, a superhero origin story that is very, very grounded in the real world and has some really important things to say about fatherhood and masculinity and our search for meaning and purpose. If you haven't seen it, you really should watch it. And number one, of course, is The Dark Knight, Christopher Nolan's second film in the Batman trilogy. The Dark Knight was just phenomenal. It took filmmaking and acting to a whole nother level, from the camera and shot selection to Heath Ledger's acting and the way that story is told. It's just an amazing film. So there you go. That's my top 10 superhero films. I'd love to hear your feedback, or if you think there's anything I've got wrong or I missed, let me know in the comment section. Thanks for watching. I'll see you tomorrow on The Daily.